Easy Explain Introduction to the Philosophy of History by G.W.F. Hegel, Chapter 4, History and Its Development. So this chapter, it's a little bit on the longer side. It's definitely a little more technical. What I've done is I've kind of gone through and I've taken 3 passages that I feel like do a pretty good job at summarizing it, at least what the main gist is. Again, Hegel is very abstract, very complex, very systematic, very tangled together. But I think if we can at least break down these 3, we'll get an idea of what Hegel's philosophy is when it comes to how history develops, how world history has developed through time, and how it will continue to develop through time. So for starters, got a little bit of a longer one. We're going to break it up into 2 parts. So the first part of this first key passage is the concrete spirit of a people, that is what we must come to know directly. The highest achievement of spirit, however, is to know itself, to bring itself not only to the sight of itself, but also to the thought of itself. This it must accomplish and will accomplish. So this first part, we've already kind of gotten this idea a little bit here, where spirit, as it progresses through the process of world history, the main goal, the main objective, the end of all this is for spirit to self-actualize itself, to self-realize itself. Spirit as this world force is getting to that point. It is going to know itself, and this for Hegel is inevitable. Let's look at the second part of this same passage. Hegel goes on to say, but this accomplishment of spirit is at the same time its decline, to make way for another spirit to come forward, another world historical people, another epoch of world history. This transition and connection leads us to the interconnectedness of the whole, to the concept of world history as such. So this is how Hegel starts to explain how we've had different epochs, we've had different times, we've had different cultures and societies and civilizations. As soon as a spirit does come to know itself, to actualize itself and realize itself, that's when it declines, right? That's when it's done. It's done. It did its job, it fulfilled itself, and now it's going to make way for the whole cycle to happen again, based on the peoples and the time that it's now at. So let's look at the second key passage here. I think it does a good job to sum this up. So Hegel says that world history in general is thus the unfolding of spirit in time. And he contrasts this to, he compares this to, nature is the unfolding of the idea in space. So we go back to this idea of Hegelian reason, the Hegelian idea. We're seeing that as nature, right? That becomes tangible reality, as he has said. But history is how the spirit is unfolding in time, right? It's if you look at the other dimension of reality, of what's happening as we go through time, that's what spirit is. So he's making that distinction, might help to just get his terms together, his terms in a row. And finally, the third key passage here from chapter 4 that I think gives us a good sense of what this philosophy is, of how history is developing. Hegel says, in essence, spirit is the result of its own activity. Its activity is the transcending of what is immediately there, by negating it and returning into itself. What, right? So he continues here and he gives a pretty good analogy, a pretty good metaphor of, just think of this like plant life. So let's go ahead and see how Hegel uses this. I think it helps a bit. He says we can compare it with the seed of a plant. The plant begins with the seed, but the seed is also the result of the plant's entire life. Yet the vulnerability of life is shown when the beginning and the result fall asunder. The same is true in the life of individuals and of peoples, and of spirit, and history, and epochs, and cultures, and worlds, right? The whole world outlook here. So if we think of spirit and this unfolding through time, just like a plant's life, we start with the seed, throughout time we grow into the plant, and when the plant's at its most mature, it forms seeds again, right? Think of it as kind of like a cycle of life. And that's kind of the picture that Hegel's painting for spirits, for individuals, for peoples, for world cultures and world societies. I do think it's a pretty good metaphor. I hope that helps to put history and its development into a clearer picture. For now, those are just 3 key selections from chapter 4. I hope it helps.